Okay, this is one of the examples in the PowerPoint, and so I was just going to do it for you. You can always kind of fast forward parts of it. There'll be some slow parts as I check things off. Anyways, it says we're going to practice creating a stem and leaf plot. It says the average tuition and fees at public institutions in the year 2004 for 20 U.S. states are shown below. The observations ranged from a low of 2,724 to a high value of 8,260. Create a stem and leaf plot. Well, this is going to take a big chunk of time if I'm trying to do it by per hundreds even. So if I'm looking at the hundreds place, I got a big distance to go. And I don't really want to have 50 bins here of that count by 100. That doesn't seem to make sense. What I should do is count how many pieces of information I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2, 16, and then I've got 4 more, so I got 20. So just as an estimate, a target made to start is the square root of 20, and the square root of 20 is, it's going to be between 4 and 5. So let's just say let's just say anywhere between approximately 4 or 5 bins is what we want to use here, or divisions here. Well, if that's the case, probably I'm going to start counting by thousands. So I'm going to try to count by thousands. So my lowest bin is 2,700. Well, my lowest number is 2,700. So I'm thinking I might want to go, like, say, from 2,000. The data's to the nearest dollar, so I might go 2,000 to 299, 3,000 to 399, and so on up until, since the highest one is 8,000, to 899, maybe how I want to break it up there. So we've got an idea what we want to do, and if I go from 2 to 8, that's 6. That's in our range of 4 or 5, so that's not too unmanageable there. So if you want to, you may want to stop this. Well, I'm going to pause it for a second and maybe set this up and get it started so the video doesn't take as long. You may want to do the same thing and then restart it. Okay, so I started some of this just to save some time here. I decided I was going to space it out here, and this is going to, and over here it's going to be one bin, and then another bin, and another bin, and so I'm going to do it that way, and then I'll fit the numbers in, and I just need to make and I'm going to end up truncating. In other words, a number like, if I want to do it, I'm going to look at the thousands place, and so I'm going to go, if I go back to the data, they said the lowest was 2754. Change my pen color. The lowest was 2754. So if I round, some people may round up to 3,000, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop it and call that a 2,000. So I'm going to call that a 27, really, a 27, and I don't care about the other 2 digits. So I'm going to end up writing a 7 in there, and when I put my key there on the other page, I'll mention the 24 in it, but the idea is that I'm going to separate it right there. So I'm going to have my 2,000s, I'm going to have my 3,000s, I'm going to have my 4,000s when I do it. And so I'm just trying to show you on the page. So I'm going to erase some stuff and do that so you can see. So I'm going to really what I want to do is I want to erase this other junk right here. And I recommend doing this one with graph paper. It's a little easier to keep track, but you don't have to. And so now I'm going to write my key here. I'm going to do it in black, my key. And that's going to be 2/7 represents 2724, so they can see what's going on there. Now I don't really need, unlike a histogram, I don't need this axis here because we know we're just going to, every number represents something. And some people will put the spacer in there, the skipping data marks. If I extend this here, they'll put this skipping data here, so you know you started at 0 there, and this just means you skip some data. So now I can start putting things in. So now the first thing I had, so this will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need one more, 8. And I only skipped 3 just for spacing reasons. And now I can go back through, and I know I have one data point, so I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to cross things off. So if I go back, I'm looking for, so I've got 3977. So it's really, I'm truncating, so I'm just going to look at it like that. That's 39. So I'm going to cross it off that I used it, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put a 9 in here. Okay? So I'm going to pause it now and put those in so that I don't make the video take too long, and you can do the same. Okay, so you can see I've done a few here, and I'll go back to the screen and you'll see how I've been checking them off as I do it. So I've got to here, and all I've been doing is just to help myself keep track. I know I'm going to the big bin of 7,000, and I'm going to put a 1 in here. I'm going to use the 1 here. I'm just going to truncate, in other words, just ignore. I'm just going to ignore the 29 there when I write it in. So if I go back, so now I have to put 71. So in the 7s I'm going to put a 1 here. Then I'm going to go back again, and I'm going to look at the 8. And I cross it off because I did it. I'm going to look at the 8, and I'm going to use the 2. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put a 2 in here. And in a lot of times you just have to find a trick so you don't miss data. So my trick is I write that in there so I know it's a 4 and a 5. So on the 4s I'm going to put a 5 right there. And I'm trying to just, for sake of organizing, I'm trying to not go, every number doesn't go higher than 2 grid spaces. Okay, so I don't want anything, when I write it, I'm trying, because I don't have the neatest writing, I'm going to have to leave some space here. And now you see, just at the 2, the 7 was off just a little bit, this 2's off. So I probably want to go back and write the 7 a little better. Then I want to write the 2 a little better. And then I can write the 3 just a little bit better. A little bit neater. So you can see that they're each taking about 2 spaces in there. So I'm going to keep doing that. You can keep watching this or fast forward through it as I do it. So I've got the 45, want me the right one, 4590. And I did that one already. And then I've got a 3 and a 2, so a big 3, small 2. Then I'll go back here. There's not a lot going on here, so if you're bored, I would fast forward a little bit. Okay, so we've used all the data. We've kind of put it in order. I know it would be nicer if we put them all exactly in order, so the numbers were in order, but we get a feel for it here. And just a note here, this 9 was really close to being in the 4000s. Had you put it in there, you can ask yourself, if you had rounded it up, it would have gone over there, but would the shape have still been this general shape here? I'm going to use red here. Would the shape, this is the shape right here, right? We kind of get the shape there of this. And so if you had put this over here and put a 9 here, would this shape, if suppose you had rounded this to a 4000 and it had been a 0, the shape wouldn't have been much different. So we've got that there. Okay, so I think I finished. All I had to do was create the stem plot for this data. And I've done that, and it's a time-consuming process if you're not careful, especially when you're first doing it. You just got to get practiced at it. But you can see that I've got all my data. The only thing I might do differently, if you want to take more time, is you can put these in order. But you can put these things in order, but it doesn't really change the shape that much. You can also decide to round things. So this would be, so if you had 20, whoops, I'll change the color. If you had 2724, you can call that 2700. If you have 3987, you could call that 4000. But generally those minor differences like here and here don't change the shape that much for one piece of data. So that's all I have to say on this.